Live. Hey, what's going on? We are on air. Man, it's been a couple of weeks, but we're back in action. We got the crew here: Norm, Carla, myself, Brian from Secrets Beverage Lab, and this is the one and only Secrets Beverage Lab podcast for Wednesday, this 8th. I never know. Of
Yes, it's the 8th of
the 8th
October.
of
Yeah.
October, 2014, episode number 93. Holy Moses. Can you smell it? 100 is just 7 episodes away, and we're going to get there by Christmas. As God is my witness, we're going to get there before Christmas. Or whatever holiday you celebrate in December, it's up to you. Please, have at it. I am, welcome back for those that are watching live. If you're listening to this, you've probably just every day have listened to a show, because I have yet to post 3 episodes behind, so we're gonna get there. Technical difficulties get in the way, whatever. But I'm drinking. Hold on, wait for it. I don't know how to say it, but Sensei Harvest.
Sensei.
Is it Sensei with an I?
Wait, with an I? I don't know.
Yeah, I say Sensei Harvest by 6 Point. It's a 12-ounce baby can of it's a wet hop IPA. It's nice, real
Little
good.
red ball. So cute.
And you get a little birdie on there if you can see. Perfect.
Aw.
But yeah, Carla, what's going on?
Hey guys, Carla here, at BeerBabe on Twitter. I am probably quite predictably by now drinking a Sebago Bonfire Rye. Really digging those this fall, so enjoying the heck out of that as the fall is definitely arrived in New England now.
Yes.
My favorite season. Sorry, love it.
Big fan. Big fan of Norm.
Hey, how are you?
And I wonder if your beard has his own fan club now.
Maybe
It's
I'm
getting
not-
up there.
Whew.
It will be.
Crossing the board.
I'm drinking tonight a Narragansett Autocrat Coffee Milk Stout. By the only way to drink beer anymore.
Man, but so it takes two to tango, right? So there's 2 cans of that in that glass.
2 16-ounce pounders from Narragansett.
Man, they don't skimp on that. Yeah, they don't skimp on the goodness. Good stuff for them. Sean should be joining us in a
It's
sec.
$8.99 for a 6-pack of pounders.
What's that?
$8.99 for a 6-pack of pounders.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I thought Obamacare was expensive. That's nice and cheap.
Good beer.
Oh my God! Well, listen up. Sean should be here in a second. We're going to get to it, but we're going to talk about the GABF in a little bit because, geez, among all the festivals, be it in Maine, Mass, or New Hampshire, there was a little festival that went on in Colorado this past week. They're called the Great American Beer Fest. We're gonna get to the results in a second. I mean, if we need more good news from Maine, we got some coming up. So sit tight. We got some sweet stuff coming up. Couple of shout outs on my end. I'll get these out of the way, but we usually do this at the end of the show, but I wanted to bring people in to watch the results come in. Geez, last episode I was in was 2 weeks, so I missed the one with Granite State Growler Tours. Great app, and I've seen the guy a couple times at different fests since then, and he loved the exposure, loved the show. Dave's a good guy, but after the Somerville, the Slum Brew podcast, I went up to Schilling with Mike, and we did their Oktoberfest, and it was great, awesome beer. They had 4 beers on tap. Schilling Brewing Company up in Littleton, New Hampshire. They all had everyone, whether you were working there or just there, had a lederhosen, so I kind of felt out of place. But that's just how it is, and it was great. Did that. And then this past weekend, fast forward 2 weeks, we were at the Chili and Beer Fest at what do you call it? Exeter, Swayze Parkway, and we might have
I missed that this year. That's an awesome fest. I really, really like that one.
it's a great fest. We might have a train break in a second. No, it might not honk the horn this time. It knows we're podcasting. Yes, it's just me and you, Carla. Norm can't stand it. But no, yeah. So I went to there it is. Got it. We went to the Chili and Beer Fest in Exeter, and you were there last year, right? We saw each other, Carla?
Yeah, it was awesome last year.
They did something to the setup this time where it was just one or two big tents last year. This year it was 3 or 4 smaller tents way more spread out, plenty of room, and they actually had tables for you to like rest your stuff on and like hang out. So I think with this setup, they've got it, and it's gonna.
How many? Do you know how many breweries, just kind of offhand, that were?
There were just over or just about 39 or 40, something like that. So there were tons, and a lot, obviously a lot for New Hampshire. Stoneface made their debut. Actually, I don't think they were there last year. They
No.
had been around. Stark Brewing Company was there. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Some other notables. A lot of notables weren't there. I didn't see Red Hook there. I don't know if they were there last year, but I didn't notice they were there. Stone wasn't there. I think a lot of these breweries, but right a different story. But I wonder if they're making way for some of these new breweries, or just a distributor took kind of hold of this. But we'll wait for Sean to come on to discuss. Actually, he's texting me right now. I always send him an invite, but I'll get him. But no, there was about 40 breweries, and I think there were 15 chilies.
Oh, cool.
And what was great about the chilies is that usually you give a ticket for chili, but they let you just take the chili. They didn't care about they cared about the prize. They didn't care about you giving them a ticket.
Well, you can't really be overserved chili, right?
That's very true. I mean, they had tickets for the food, but the restaurants are like, no, just try it because we don't want you to not try us because you don't have any tickets. We want you to vote for us. So there you go.
Yeah, like I think that makes total sense. You know, as long as it makes economic sense for the brewers, you know, or for the brewers and for the restaurants. But I always love it. That one in Passport I really like because it's bringing both the food and the beer together and in kind of a fun environment. Like, that's cool. I'm sad I had to miss it. I was in New York City.
You missed. Oh, well, I mean, that's a fine excuse right there. The one brewery made its debut in the Chili Fest, and Earth Eagle had its chili, which took third place. So congrats to Earth Eagle on their very first
chili
river entry. It was wicked good. They used meat from it's called Meat in Kittery. So if you ever go to Kittery, there's Black Birch, best bar ever, Anju, best Asian restaurant ever, and then right next to that is now this meat butcher. And
that sounds awesome. I gotta go back to Kittery. You know,
so it's just like it's
that and Todd Mott's new brewery and just
it's that
just the goodness right there.
That's a boulevard of just dreams, not broken dreams.
Awesome.
Just good stuff. But yeah, so they took third. First place I think was 11 Water Street or something in Exeter, which is they always make good food. I'm not surprised. I don't forget the other winners, but our favorites were Earth Eagle. Wim had a great chili, and there's a restaurant here in Exeter that is called Good Karma, and it's right by the Amtrak station. If you ever get to Exeter, it used to be all vegan, but they said screw that, and it was a chicken mole chili. It was so good.
Awesome.
It was sweet, savory, awesome. So that.
Oh no. So it looks like our host may have just dropped out, so I can talk for a moment while he tries to come back, so this might be slightly awkward. A couple things happening in Maine Beer while we're waiting for folks to join back in. We're having a new brewery open next weekend, which is going to be up in Liberty, Maine, called, what do you think, Liberty Brewing Company. So I snuck in some Maine beer news.
Yeah, no, get in there. It's fine.
You know,
it's gonna be that kind of show.
Because I talk too much about Maine anyway. I was like, I'm talking to myself. All right, I'm gonna talk about our new brewery.
That's what Maine.
And so.
No, yeah. I was just closing it out. What the hell was I saying? I don't even know what. Oh, I have no idea what I was saying. But yeah, so Powder Keg Chili and Beer Fest. Check it out next year. It's always good. Good stuff. Good beers. I don't even know where I was going with the rest of it. But yeah, so check it out. And I'll let you talk for a little bit in case my thing craps out again. I got a couple more things I'll save for later, but what do you got? How was your past couple weeks?
Really good. Like I said, this past weekend I went to New York City. I was down there for a work thing, but made it over to a couple of good craft beer bars while I was there, just on my way out. But mostly I just enjoyed my mom's home cooking. It was a very impromptu trip to New York. It was very quick, scooted in and out. But I have been really enjoying what's been going on in Maine. A lot of breweries have been brewing, instead of pumpkin beers, they've been brewing a lot of really good Oktoberfests.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, both Infinity had one where they brewed it in collaboration with Tom Bull. Bunker Brewing Company had a really classic one. I just had Oxbow's version last night. And the other one I really dug was Banded Horn down in Biddeford, and I've just been kind of seeing what they can do with that style, because it's a very basic style in Oktoberfest, but these guys are putting their own little spin on it, and it's been really nice to have a variety of them kicking around instead of just the the classic traditional imported version. It's like, hey, we've got some malts, let's play with that. So that's I've been really excited about those.
Well, because you said Infinity did it with Tom Bull. I mean, when Bulljagger had it, don't tell me what it was called, because it's the motto of Maine. Hold on a second. 3, 2, 1. I forget. What is it called?
Dirigo.
Oh, Dirigo. And that was a complete.
Oh, that was awesome.
Opposite direction. It was great.
Yeah, and he had brewed he brewed one last year with Infinity as well, but I think this year's is actually better. They dialed it in a little bit. And had one a couple of nights ago, and it was awesome. It was really good. They call it Rumspringfest, which Rumspringa is when Amish people are let out of their society for a year when they're a teenager to figure out if they want to stay in the clan. So it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek name. They let Tom out into the real world for a little while, and then brought him back. But it's I believe it's still on in Infinity right now. So if you guys are up in Portland for any reason, check that out. But just check out the local Oktoberfest. Like, I've been really impressed with the quality this year. And I don't know if it just it became trendier after Bulljagger to kind of futz around with lagers, especially in the Oktoberfest season. But I'm happy to see that. Although a couple of my Facebook people were complaining that there's no good pumpkin beers kicking around Portland, that are, other than the classic Shipyard pumpkin, which I don't dislike. But there's not a lot of people experimenting with pumpkins, and I'm like, I would rather have them experiment with an Oktoberfest.
Totally.
Then make kind of I threw some pumpkin pie spices in my brewery. Blah. Like, I don't know.
It's rough to do a one-off of pumpkin, because either you get a good batch of pumpkins.
And it's very labor-intensive. If you're going to actually use real pumpkin, it's a pain in the arse. I'd rather have them spending their time on other creative outlets than smashing up pumpkins for like a week so that they can make a 2-barrel batch of something.
That being said, check out Cambridge Brewing Company's pumpkin, which
they are
is
amazing.
It's 5 gallons. It's the best.
They make great pumpkin beer.
Yeah. And then I think Smutty Nose is one of the only ones that does pumpkins as well. So.
Yeah. I think the Portsmouth Brewery used to.
Yes. Yeah, they did. That was like what you said. So it's kind of like a lot of work for a very small batch, but it's cool. Yeah.
And then I believe, I'm sorry I'm blanking on the date, but this week they're releasing the Allagash Cool Ship version that has pumpkin in it. They call it Ghoul Ship.
Oh no, I gotta tell my wife.
Although it doesn't taste like pumpkins.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, she's a big fan of the Cool Ship anyway.
But I am too, and all those beers are very unique. Britannomyces, these bacteria, like fun fermented stuff. Yeah. But last year, I think it was last year, I had it, and it's like, it's very earthy. It doesn't have like a literal pumpkin taste, but you can tell it's from some kind of vegetable, savory something, and it's very interesting. So again, they're selling that at the brew pub. I'll have to check on the date. We'll put it in the show notes. I'm not sure what day of the week that's actually going down, but I'm always happy to see that come back too.
Hell yeah! I mean, I think their last, or not their last one. One of the last ones I went to was on a Wednesday, and it was on my birthday, April. But it was like a Thursday, and no one was in line. So I think they've learned from that. But I figured a nice slow launch would have been nice.
I actually think that they just do it when it's ready.
Yeah, that's fine with me too.
Sometimes it ends up being on a weekend. Sometimes it ends up being on a Wednesday.
Yep.
And if it's ready, it's ready. The other thing they're doing, just in Allagash news, is that they're coming up on their 10th anniversary of Curia.
No kidding.
One of my favorite Allagash beers, the whiskey barrel, and
yep.
Good. And they're doing a video contest where you can make a video about Curia, and then they give you all these prizes, and it's pretty awesome. You should check it out. But they're making a 10th anniversary version of Curia also that they're going to release in commemoration of that. And I'll be writing up some details about that because I actually got asked to be a judge for the video thing. So if you're not, don't tell me. But I will be helping them pick a winner for that contest, so that's pretty exciting.
All right, so we can't use this video right now for this entry.
No.
Norm and I will be doing one, so.
Although it is one of my favorite Allagash beers.
Awesome. 10 years. Wow.
I know, right?
It seems like it's ahead of the game. Like, it seems like in 2004 that was ahead of the game.
I don't think anybody was doing anything like that in 2004.
Crazy. Man.
I didn't enter beer writing until 2007, and it still blew my mind in 2007. You know, like Mm-mm.
Like this isn't beer. Like okay, well I'll take your word for it now, and then all of a sudden 10 years later, like oh it was a beer.
Yeah, it was a really good beer.
Jeez.
And I think, and like you said, I actually think that was way before everybody got into the barrel aging.
Oh
And
yeah. I mean, it was before a lot of. I mean, I'm just thinking of from I'm being selfish for New Hampshire. It's like the scene was nowhere near. It was maybe 10 breweries at the time. Now there's 35.
yeah,
So
pretty
now
exciting.
now there's 1,000 in Maine. But
And yeah, it's it's
what
not.
else? What else you got? Anything? Anything else?
Um, while you were gone, I mentioned really quickly that Liberty Brewing Company will be our newest brewery that's opening next weekend.
Where's that?
Liberty, Maine. It's
Oh,
kind of near like Rockland, Camden area. I had to look it up. I
is it the
did.
middle of the map?
What?
Is that like the bullseye in the middle of Maine? It sounds
No,
like
no,
it's somewhere.
up in the mid coast. So like if you keep going like up past Wiscasset towards Rockland, it's just a little bit inland from there. So it's kind of you keep going up Route 1. So it's on the way to places like Marshall Wharf.
Oh, okay, that's
Doesn't
fine.
suck, you know.
Yeah,
So you're like,
no.
oh, let me go up there to both of them.
Yep.
Um, that's pretty awesome.
Sweet.
And then you know, I don't know if we're gonna get our other panelists back, but if we're talking about Allagash, we can talk about the fact that one of their cool shit beers did win at GABF.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, may as well. I mean, we'll sprinkle the news in as we go. So yeah, what do we got here?
So only 2 breweries went up to GABF this year. That's actually down, or from Maine.
From Maine. It
yeah,
was a very short
only
sell.
2 breweries. There are only 2 tables.
Yeah.
No, there were only 2 from Maine, Allagash and Shipyard. That's actually down from the couple years ago. We used to have a few more, and I really just think it's a cost size thing. You know, people are busy enough doing their own stuff down here that we don't really need awards from Colorado to get validated and keep doing what we're doing. That's a personal opinion. That's not the official reason we don't have that many. But of those 2 breweries, Allagash did win a gold for one of their cool shit beers called Resurgam. And Resurgam is actually the motto for Portland, which means we will rise again, which actually comes from the fact that Portland has burned to the ground 4 times.
Oh, it's a silver medal, but it should be
Was
gold.
it a silver medal? I'm sorry, I thought it was a gold. That's my error. I was
It's gold. It's gold in our
proud
hearts.
I made it into a gold.
Classic Maine. I gotta correct you on this one.
That's fine, and I would rather be accurate than just full of Maine pride. But if you haven't had that beer, it is the cool ship is that big open fermented, you know, European tradition thing that they do. It's this giant tank that they pour the beer into, and then they let whatever natural yeast comes in through the windows, you know, of the terroir. That's what ferments the beer. So you get something slightly different every time, but you also get something that is unreproducible anywure else. Because
And I never condone, you know, straying from a tour. The tour doesn't really go outside, but if you happen to just be outside and you're kind of slant yourself left around the building, you'll be able to see it, or you can just ask, because usually they're nice enough to show you if there's nothing in it. You can walk right. I mean, hell, it might be better if there's stuff in it, but it's a cool. It's super small. Like you think it's this Wizard of Oz like big thing.
It looks like a little like shed
It's
that you have.
it's like half the size of this room. It's
Smaller than that. Yeah, and you can fit about 3 people in it comfortably next to the tank, next to the cool ship itself. But I think of the series of beer that they've done, that definitely is one that deserves some honors. So that's really kind of
totally.
awesome.
Cheers to them.
Yeah, I'm super proud of that. How about New Hampshire? What's new in New Hampshire?
Oh boy. Well, a lot's new in New Hampshire, but I guess as far as GABF winners, there were 0. The biggest surprise. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of breweries that enter, you know, to win. New Hampshire doesn't really enter that many beers to win, but they didn't enter many breweries. And I'll put the link in the show notes. If you go to GreatAmericanBeerFestival.com, you can see by state who went. But only 1 brewery from New Hampshire went, and it was Stark Brewing Company, which great brewery. It's just weird to see, and they're one of the oldest breweries. They've been around since 94, 95. That's their shipping name. Their beer is actually brewed at Millie's Tavern in Manchester, New Hampshire, but they've been around for 20 plus years. But it's just weird to not see even a Portsmouth brewery who had been there a couple years ago, or Smutty Nose, or it's just weird to see that there's not a lot of breweries. Maybe I don't recall there being an issue with registering maybe it was just
There was last year. I didn't hear much about it this year. Like last year, these brewers tried to log on and register, and like they got shut out and things, and everybody was ticked off because they were waitlisted.
Yeah. Yep.
My theory is just that we have so much going on here that we don't really need to go to GABF to get a medal to continue to be a good brewery. I mean, like there's enough attention being paid here.
Oh, yeah.
GABF used to be like the only place you could go to really pit yourself against every other brewery in the U.S. and come home and say, no, we make the best version of X beer in the country. And there's a lot more opportunities to do that now. And the other thing is that not a lot of people are brewing to style anymore. They're brewing weird bending things that don't fit those styles. So are they going to get an award for the best, IPA if they're throwing weird ingredients in it? No, so.
Well, yeah, and they try to sneak in new styles each year. I forget which new ones were this year. I think it was like the Grisette or the Grisecca, or maybe that was last year. I forget. But it's like. There's two different things, and we were kind of talking about earlier, is you can enter your brewery into the festival. Like people just go like any other festival, but only think of like the biggest festival of all time. I think it was like 900 some breweries. No, there were more than that. Thousands of breweries at this thing, and they have like there's an app for it. It's that big. You need to find like your breweries. But so you can enter your breweries just for that, and then if you want to enter your beers to be judged, that's a different thing, but we'll hold off on the norm thing in case his computer happens to fix. Otherwise, we'll just talk about it. But he sent us a link where it's very interesting, the percentage of beers that were entered versus judged and the winners of those. And it's for those mathletes out there, it's pretty crazy. And we're waiting for Sean too. Can't get him in, but you know what? He's late to the party. No big deal. It's going to be a New Hampshire, Maine show, so continue to buckle up.
It's all good, man. It's all good. This moment for a very short, shameless plug. Yes, Sean's coming.
Actually, no.
I'm still going to do a short, shameless plug. On Thursday mornings, I have now been invited to be a permanent guest on Thursday mornings on WCYY. So they are based out of Portland, but their signal goes all the way down to southern New Hampshire, all the way up to Midcoast, Maine. It's an alternative rock station. They wanted somebody to come on and talk about beer. So on Thursday mornings, about 8 a.m., I'm going to be on the radio now.
Starting tomorrow?
Actually, it started last week, but yes, tomorrow I will be on as well. So
awesome! Oh, nice. Well, congrats. Is it like a different topic each week, or like that you have to make up and bring?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of both. So it's I bring a couple ideas. They pitch some ideas back to me. We have a little discussion about what's going on. But last week was just kind of an introduction to me, just so that people could figure out who the hell I was,
Sweet.
And whether or not I knew anything about beer, and then we're gonna go from there. But I'm doing a tiny little blog on their site just to get people interested, but it's not really anything big or time-consuming writing-wise. But I'm pretty excited because there are definitely a lot of people that are curious about beer, and it's a new audience for me. It's a little bit younger audience.
Oh yeah.
Alt rock folks. It's funny because I have sat there and I'm like, this is really awesome. Then I'm like, am I cool enough to do this? Like, I'm kind of a geek, so I'm pretty excited that it's coming to fruition. So if you happen to be listening to the CYY Morning Show, I will be making a couple of posts on there. So.
That's huge. And if we do find it online, like a link to, I don't know if they record these things yet, or you should tell them they should, so we can send it on the masses. But yeah, I mean, radio. I'm surprised how many people listen to the radio. It's everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like the minority by not listening, but now I have to. So I'm going to track down WCYY and figure out what.
94.9. So see. Is
it 94.9 down here too?
94.9.
Are you going to be live in the studio?
Awesome.
Yes and no. So what they do is they record me and then they edit it very slightly and then they stick it up. So it's live about 15 minutes after I do it. So I go in there at about 7:30. They post it up there at about 8, which is pretty cool. Just gives them a chance to just tighten it up a little bit. But it's fun. And I'm looking forward to it because the other thing about radio is that like people don't have to choose to listen to it; they're listening to it already, and then I'm on it, so they're talking about cool things. So
yeah,
that's pretty neat.
And then people that actually know you might drive off the road like, oh my God, who? Like I know that person. Like I know them.
Who are you going to be on the air with?
I'm on with Mark Curto. in the morning.
Mark Cordo.
Mark Curto and the Chaz, or whatever.
Born in Massachusetts, grew up in Nashua, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Graduated college in Maine.
Nice.
Oh my God! But yes, so there's Sean. Video's not coming in hot, but we got a nice sweet picture of him if people want to see what he looks
What
like.
are you thinking, Sean?
What do you got?
I'm currently drinking a Sensi Harvest from 6 Points.
Jinx. Oh, and Brian just dropped off, but so is Brian. Brian was drinking the exact same thing. That's a
That
beer
is
jinx.
weird.
Yeah.
That's
How do you
weird.
like it? What is it? What style is it?
It's hoppy. 4.7% ABV, 50 IBUs.
Almost a session. All right.
I think it's like a hoppy. Oh, hold on.
You guys are drinking the same beer, Brian.
Wait, what are you drinking?
He's drinking Sensei.
Hey, Sensei.
Yay!
Yeah.
It's a
Awesome stuff.
it's a wet hop.
Yeah.
I like
It's a wet IPA.
Good stuff. And usually we plan for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Although
I would
that's
say, Carla, not having it side by side is very similar to Founder's Harvest.
okay. Cool. Very cool.
So I don't know taste wise. Like I don't. It's tough without it side by side.
funny,
But I think it's the same
funny you
concept.
say that. I would have said Porcelain Brewery Hop Harvest. Same
Yeah.
kind of
Those
deal.
wet hop, the kind of nice.
Anything with the word harvest in it.
Speaking of wet hops,
Yeah, but that's not true though. Some of the harvests aren't necessarily wet hopped.
Also, and wet hop is becoming kind of the thing to do now. Trendy thoughts? Oh, Carla, go.
next weekend, not this weekend, not Columbus Day weekend, but like the 18th, they are doing a event at Infinity where they are they have at least, I think it's 15 breweries that have made beers with wet, local Maine hops. And they're putting them all on as like a festival event thing, and you can buy tickets to this thing and get samplers of all of the beer. But what's awesome about it is that basically it's 12 to 15 Maine breweries taking Maine hops and doing something with them. They're not all IPAs, they're not all pale ales, and they're really interesting. We're really looking forward to that event. We had I went on and on about this a couple weeks ago. We had the biggest Maine hop harvest we've had in about 100 years this past year. And this is a really neat opportunity to see what people can do with these locally grown hops, which are kind of unknown. It's a risk. They don't have all the numbers on alpha acids and all this stuff before they brew with them. They just kind of have a little leap of faith and they see what happens. They come out. I'm sure some of them are going to be awesome and some of them are going to not be awesome.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, though, is wet hopping just instead of dry hopping, these hops are wet, but it also impacts the flavor of the beer? So whereas dry hopping is just the aroma?
They're not pelletized. They're like, here, I picked them and I put them on a thing.
Gotcha.
They have,
Yeah, but typically, if you're wet hopping, it's going to be at the end.
yes.
So anything at the end is not going to really affect bitterness. It's going to affect aroma. So you're going to get a little bit of flavor affected by it, but it's more so going to be the aroma and that taste that you attribute to the aroma.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's not really going to be like extreme bitterness.
So when's that fest, Carla? Sorry?
They're calling it. Let me see what they're calling it. But it's on the 18th at Infinity. Let me just grab the name of the actual fest.
Yeah, that's
I
kind
just keep calling it like Hoptoberfest, of course.
But of course.
Maine grown, Maine brewed. So it's going to have beers from Bunker, Allagash, Boothbay, Oxbow, Sebago, Rising Tide, Austin Street, Bissell Brothers, Shipyard, Tributary, Banded Horn, Hidden Cove, and Infinity.
That's an all-star lineup.
That is an awesome lineup, and that is I'm very excited about this event. So you can check out more information about that. It's October 18th. You can check out more info about that on Infinity's Facebook page.
It's coming up pretty quick.
I'm excited.
Sweet. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so check that out. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who I was talking to. I might have seen it on Twitter by somebody. It's just, wet hops becoming the new kind of thing to do. So, I mean, we had a session year last year. We might have a wet hop, cycle coming up.
Yeah, but you can only do a wet hop once a year.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because they're fresh.
It's got to be for hop harvest.
Well, there you go, Hop Harvest, which
Exactly.
shout out to Porcelain Brewery. So get in there. We got Johnny Beer in the chat. You can join the chat too if you're watching live. SBLpodcast.com. Let's before we talk a little bit more about the GABF, I want to give a quick shout out to myself, self-promotion, and Ben Watts, Beer Buddy Ben. But I'll segue it from a news story that we talked about, or him and I talked about over beer. So you have your .coms, your .edus, your .whatevers. Now you can have your .beers,
which is awesome.
crazy.
I still want a .beer. Like,
so if you go to Let's Talk .beer, you can see all of the stuff we talk about on myself and Ben's live show, Let's Talk Beer. And we had one last week at 11. We have it every first Thursday of the month at 11. And we had Stoneface guys on as guests live, did some trivia, and we played a game called Famous Stone Faces with Pete and Errol. And I'll put all the pictures up when I get the recap written up. But basically, just showed them a picture of a famous stone face, and they had to guess what it was. Whether it's
any photos of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh my God, no! But we had The Rock on there. But Stone Cold is such a good one. Okay, so yeah. But basically,
round two will have to have that in it.
We actually had. I'm going to put it in there as if we had it. That's a fantastic one, Sean. But we had Olmec from Legend of the Hidden Temple, Mount Rushmore, Easter Island, Rocky from Rocky and Bullwinkle, and etc. So they had to guess, and a winner of that got a glass and a hat from Stoneface. So we do stuff like that, just random like beer stuff. But yeah. Check it out, Let's Talk Beer, and that's pretty snazzy. It's a pretty great place over there, but man, traffic there is kind of crazy with construction and whatnot over at 11. But it's a great place to grab a beer.
Is there even parking?
They're on the streets. They don't have a parking lot. We can park on the streets just fine for now. There'll be more once the construction comes to an end, which is TBD. I don't know. Shano, what in the hell have you been up to the past couple weeks? What do we got?
It's sort of been a whirlwind. I mean, I missed you. I heard you were there, but I was at the Exeter Powder Keg Brew Fest.
I saw you. You were pouring Goose Island, but then I ran into Amber, so I'm like, the better half. I'll talk to her.
Exactly. That was actually a pretty good day. I don't know if you talked about it too much already. Little Ogden. Oh, look at that.
Haven't cracked it yet.
Pretty good beer, isn't it?
I haven't cracked it yet.
Oh, you haven't had it yet, so. Yeah, so that one fared pretty well at the fest, but I like that they had more tents, knowing that it was expected to rain. The tents were a little bit of different layout, so it changed the flow a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
Overall, I think it was. I mean, I think every year they learn something and they make it better, and that's what's better for everybody else.
I think they nailed it with the setup this year, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was key. There was a great array of beers there. Big breweries, small breweries, old breweries, new breweries, and I think I wasn't there later in the shift, but I think some of the smaller guys that usually run out too quick had beer for a longer period of time, so that you could at least sneak in there. And there was some special sort of like VIP beers too, which was nice. I also, the most recent thing, so that was Saturday. Sunday, I went to the Valley Malt Barley Fest.
Oh, my old stomping grounds.
Hadley, Mass.
Nice.
Drove through a little bit of B-Town. I should have told Rick Brews I was in the area. I would have been a great time.
Yeah.
To dance to a little harmonica and a banjo.
Oh boy.
It was a nice band playing some good music.
Nice. Do you have any good beers there?
Oh yeah, definitely. There was, basically everybody that buys Valley Malt had some kegs on. Definitely. So there was some Brooklyn, some Notch, some High Horse,
nice.
Wormtown, Throwback. I think there was a lot of breweries that I didn't even know that they actually used the Valley Malt. It was a pretty good thing. They had a little pizza, wood fire pizza. There was someone grilling up some authentic German sausages, and it was a big. You could go ride a tractor or take pictures on a huge big tractor, which was pretty fun, and a couple of cornhole tournaments.
Perfect.
Just a really relaxed, fun day. Weather was nice on Sunday.
It's nice. And side note, speaking of High Horse, I was talking to Matt a couple times last week when I was down there. And he wants to be on the show because he's talking about his new spot opening up which would be very nice to distribute some of the high horse beer, which I'm always been getting high horse anywhere. So it'd be cool to get it in cans and bottles in the future. But,
yeah, we don't. We really. I think all three of us, except when you go home, we really can't drink his beer. So I wouldn't be able to tell you one beer versus another, or kind of even name any of his top beers that he has. But he's a great brewer.
Tasty treats. Let's get in. So Norm's computer is dead. So now we're going to start a Kickstarter to buy Norm a computer.
Aww.
Hey, I'll tell you this. The other thing, Brian, because we didn't have a show last week. I was going back and I've been actually listening to some episodes. So the episode I kind of started with last week was the episode with Ken Grossman, episode 52.
Yep.
It was actually pretty funny to hear Ken, and then if people may forget that there was a special guest, maybe a Russian River owner that kind of popped into that video, and then I followed that with a little Lively Brewing episode where it was sort of like
Legend Interruption,
Mass Chaos, episode 81. Which was, I'm sitting here in my car listening to it. It's pretty fun, and I ended it for the trio just because we didn't have a show last week with a little Dean from Treehouse.
Yes.
There was definitely some Dean love in that show.
Whew. Man, and I visited Dean, like last week with Rick Brews, and that brewery is not slowing down. I mean, they're slowing down the lines because it's we were there for an hour to get 3 growlers, but.
That's crazy.
But it's Pat. It was a Thursday. But man, those guys are doing awesome stuff. But yeah, Dean was there. Says hey. Yeah, but like, Dean, we had some crazy episodes. But we're not even talking about. We can't talk about best ofs yet. But I will toss out one of my top 5 guests. Can you guess who I'm thinking of right now? I know Sean knows it. The Fireman's Brew. Fireman's Brew.
Fireman's Brew. I would say top 5 Fireman's Brew. That's exactly.
He was such a fun guy.
Coming fresh off a 24-hour shift.
Yeah, well, just going to the Trios episode for a moment. I mean, I unfortunately missed all 3 of those episodes that I listened to. I had missed them, so it was kind of for me listening to those for like the first time. But Dean, it was like, well, you have a brewer, you have this other guy, but then you have a Dean, and it was kind of like, what does a Dean do? I was like, well, I play a little guitar, I do a little bit of plumbing, and then I kind of just like give people hugs, and it was kind of funny when we were talking about the little moment of zen there at the end when he was saying, hey, I'm going to give you one thing. No, I'm going to give you 2 things. All of a sudden, I'm going to give you 3, and then all of a sudden, like, turn to be like 4 or 5 like moments of zen of like things that he wanted to make sure that people realize it. But that's a Dean.
That's a Dean.
You have to have that passionate brewer. Person from the brewery that everyone kind of draws to, and you kind of you feel a connection with because somebody's connecting with the customer at the same time.
That's true. He's it's not really a jack of all trades. It's just he is what he is. It's like not a rep, not a brewer. He's there. It's him.
Yeah, jack of all trades. He does. This thing breaks, he goes to fix it.
Boom.
That thing happens.
It's a plumber too, which is crazy.
So I'm just gonna let everyone else that's listening right now. If you haven't listened to these shows, as I had not, you can actually go to iTunes. Listen to it. Download it while you're on your Wi-Fi at home. Listen to it while you're in the car.
Sounds like you're talking to my mom. When you're on the Wi-Fi.
That extra hour of traffic, it doesn't matter. You can actually pause it. Like a call comes in, and it stops it. You can have your call ends. You continue on with the podcast.
Oh, yeah, and then, like I said, technical difficulties past couple weeks, but you're listening to this now in the car. You've already seen the last 2 episodes that have not been uploaded, but they are going to be uploaded this week. I've fixed the issues, but your iTunes is not the problem. It is us. So, what do we got? Let's see.
Brian, I said you something. I'll bring it up first.
What'd you
send
me?
Okay.
Wait. What'd you send me? Because we're talking about GABF today.
Right before that.
What do you got?
I want to know who knows what's going on with Beer Pulse.
No, what's going on with what?
I'll tell you this. I get daily emails from Beer Pulse.
Oh, yeah.
They stopped around September 22nd. If you go to their website, the last post was the 29th, and they had one post between the 29th and the 21st.
I followed them on the RSS feed, and funny you mentioned that. I haven't seen anything in a while.
Why?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
why people of Beer Pulse? We love you.
Ogden.
Don't
Ogden.
go away. Don't go away. Come back.
Oh, I want to know if anyone knows what happened.
No,
I don't. I just had spotted it because I was. I mean, I look up news to see what we're going to talk about for the week and whatnot, and
I'm right there with you.
sources that we use all the time, very helpful. But I'm a little bit shocked by that. So
You know what's...
I mean, if there's
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was to say if someone else knows, tweet us, text us, whatever, send us a message on Google Plus. We want to know what's up.
It's funny you mention that because I was looking for news myself for the show we did last week, the live show, and I ended up just typing the word beer in Google and then clicking the news thing, and it was just anything from local beer news to like blogs popped up, but it wasn't no Beer Pulse, but it was just taking news from the source, which is crazy. But yeah, funny you should mention that. Is the internet broken, Sean?
I hope not.
I don't.
That's the only reason. Because I missed them.
All right, so now we're shutting this thing down.
No, anything that I would say it'd be pure speculation.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he was that site was doing so much news, so much information all the time, nonstop.
he could be retooling and figure something.
Maybe he's on his honeymoon,
Hey,
right?
did he get married?
Why else would you be gone for 2 weeks?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Right? That's pure 1,000% speculation.
Follow the money. That's all I know.
Exactly.
All right, let's get real quick into it, and then we can close her down. Carl had talked about the silver medal award winning, but they're gold in our hearts.
Sorry, I thought it was a gold.
Cool ship from
Allagash.
Gash.
Yeah.
We also
That version of the cool ship is awesome. If you guys get a chance to try the Resurgent, just do it. It's really good.
Get to try it. It's not even. It's kind of like if you're honored enough to try it. It's like difficult to get.
I have too many bottles of it in my fridge, so maybe I'll be nice and share one with one of you.
I realized B-Man for a moment.
Yeah.
And there he is.
we're having one of those shows tonight with the Wi-Fi's. Speaking of Wi-Fi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
We
totally.
can hear you.
Oh,
Usually,
that sucked.
yeah. I'm kind of enjoying that. Like earlier in the year, I was the one with all the technical.
And you
I'm
passed it to
the
me.
only continuous person who hasn't watched it this entire show. So
All right, so we'll take at most 10 minutes because I know it's going to crap out of me again. I think we're having like a 10-minute block here. But I wanted to give a shout out since Norm isn't coming back. There were there were 4 breweries. Maybe let's ask Sean because Carl and we talked about this in the pre-show. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Oh, good. My mouse died, so I'm not even going to look at you. So we have 4 breweries, Sean, entered from Massachusetts. You know who they were, if you haven't looked already? That were entered into the for the festival.
For the GABF, I know that 2 won.
Yeah. So there were 4.
The 2 that won were Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams, and Cambridge Brewing Company.
Okay, so we got. Is those your guess?
No, I know because there's only 6 winners of the whole of all of New England.
So we got
6 winners of all of New England because
Maine
it was 2 for
won.
Vermont.
Oh, wait, where'd you get
Hampshire
Kane?
0. So
So I'm looking at the GreatAmericanBeerFestival.com. They have their entries, and the 4 from Mass, and maybe Sean, you found a typo, but we have Boston Beer Company, Jack's Abbey, Harpoon, and Wormtown. Did you see a Cambridge winner somewhere?
Are you looking at this year or last year?
This year.
No, because Cambridge Brewing Company won 1, Sam Adams won 2,
I'm
and
looking
then
you're right.
Wolvers won in Vermont, along with one other Vermont brewery.
I'm looking at. Yeah, I got you right there.
5 and 6 was Allagash in Maine.
Yep. So they haven't. It doesn't really update. They didn't update anyway. Well, it was breweries at the festival, so maybe they didn't go to the festival.
No, well, so remember last year where they had the big issue? They changed it this year and said that anybody that wants to enter in, you had to submit that you were interested in entering in for the competition by a certain date. And
okay.
then what they did was that they said, okay, we have X number of breweries, and then you can enter in now this many beers to put the overall volume at a cap. Where in the past you could enter 5, 8, 15. You could actually enter 20 beers if you wanted to. The max this year you could actually enter in for the GABF, the competition for the World Beer Cup, was actually 5. So any brewery that wanted to enter a beer now is no longer required to attend, but you could only submit a certain number of beers into the event.
So that's what it was. Is Cambridge just entered for judging and not the fest? And
Right.
I was looking at
Yep.
a list of breweries that entered the festival.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
So
the one of the Vermont ones that won was actually Walliver's for their organic pumpkin.
That is one of my favorite pumpkins. It's very good
Yeah.
beer. And it's one of those ones that not a lot of people outside of New England have ever heard of, but in the lineup of pumpkin beers, it's really kind of classic. It's very good.
what's that style called? Vegetable beer or something?
Yeah, it's like vegetable something.
Yeah. So they got Lawson's won the Maple Triple silver for a specialty beer.
Have
That's
you
pretty cool.
had that? That sounds really good.
Oh, it's awesome. Yes.
Can you get that in New Hampshire?
Oh no, absolutely not. You have to know Ben Watts, who frequents Vermont.
All right.
But
Either that or
Big more
beer
trips to Vermont.
yeah, and actually, Beer Buddy Ben sent Rick Brews a bottle of Lawson's a couple weeks ago, and that was some precious cargo in the mail. But mass breweries that won, we have Remain in the Light, was it a American style or international style Pilsner by Cambridge Brewing Company that took the bronze medal. So congrats to those guys. And we also have Sam Adams won the gold in 2 categories: Belgian style Abbey Ale and German style Doppelbock or Eisbock for their Tetravis and their Doppelbock. So
Tetravis is good.
yeah, hey, Doppelbock's not too shabby either, but they're big beers though. You can't just have a little sipper. But
The
Sean, you have
surprising
the
thing
site up right
about
now?
that CBC, CBC has, out of New England, if you take Sam Adams out of the picture, because sometimes in the past, Sam Adams winnings actually goes under Ohio rather than under Massachusetts. So not all of the wins in the past have actually been, these are the first 2 that's actually been registered as Massachusetts in a couple years. But take them out of the equation and some of the ciders that they've won, Cambridge Brewing Company has to be the most winning New England brewery year after year in history.
Yeah, if you go to the brewery, you can see them all just lined up.
Yeah, they're all hanged up there, and they make great beer. And the beer that you just mentioned, I've never had.
Yeah.
But any one of the other ones that are spectacular could easily have won.
And then quick rundown of the actual winners. So they also have brewery champions, and there's about, I think there's 6 or 7 of these awards, 7 right now it looks like. Small Brew Pub and Small Brew Pub Brewer of the Year goes to Bastogne Brewery in Royal Oak, Michigan, and you can just check out their links there on the GreatAmericanBeerFestival.com. Mid-size Brew Pub of the Year went to Brasserie St. James in Reno, Nevada, so Reno 911. And Large Brew Pub and Large Brew Pub Brew Pub Brewer of the Year went to Beechwood Barbecue and Brewing of Long Beach, California. Check it.
Oh, I went
They have a pretty good looking logo. You can you'll see a lot of stuff on Beer Pulse from Beechwood.
Did you try their food, Carla?
No. I had the beer, but not the food.
All right. So and this is just a beer category, so that's fine. Their food could suck. It's just in the name. And big shout out to our buddy over at Growler Phil's. Very small brewing company and very small brewing company brewer of the year, which I guess is nano in the New Hampshire sense, but Draftworks out of Missoula, Montana.
Nice,
So
nice.
big shout out.
That's exactly the town he's from, right?
I think so, yeah.
Exactly where he's from. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's beaming with pride.
He just organized a parade, a little ticker tape parade when they came back, I'm sure. Then we have
after doing a backflip and
a backflip in a marathon. Yeah, we also have 3 more awards. Small Brewing Company of the Year and Small Brewing Company Brewer of the Year both went to Marble Brewery out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Mid-size Brewing Company and Mid-size Brewing Company.
I have some beers from Marble.
No kidding.
Really?
Yeah, Amber had gone there with Jen over the summer.
How did they
brought
taste?
back some Marble beers. They were good.
Sweet. Mid-size Brewing Company and Mid-size Brewing Company Brewer of the Year goes to Devil's Backbone Brewing Company.
They make great beer.
Who brings Huck Finn in Virginia?
No.
Devil's Backbone is actually D.C., isn't it?
No, it's Lexington, Virginia. It could be close to D.C. for all I know.
Yeah, you can get it pretty often in D.C.
Oh, so as a tangent, my dad just moved to Venice, Florida, which is about 45 minutes from Tampa.
Oh,
Where
okay.
Cigar City is. So I now have kind of a line into Cigar City beers. So the next time I go down and visit him, he's retiring. Congrats to my dad after 40 years of the state of New York. Whoop!
Nice, congrats.
He is crashing at the beach down in Venice, Florida, and anytime I go fly down to see him, I will definitely be taking a pit stop at Cigar City.
Sounds tough. Sounds real tough.
Exciting. I want that freaking cucumber beer that they make.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I love cucumbers and I love beer, so.
Oh boy. All right.
I've had that one. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We got and one more award, and then we'll get out of here. We got Large Brewing Company.
Uh-oh.
I'll finish it up for him.
All right, good.
Large Brewing Company of the Year goes to AC Golden.
You know what, though? That's Coors' subsidiary, right? Like the one.
It is.
The one beer.
We're gonna have the fastest closing segment of the show.
The one beer bloggers conference that we went to that was in Boulder, we had some beer that was made by that AC Golden, which is the spin-off.
It was the Colorado Native.
And it was really good. Like.
Yeah.
You know, I can't fault them just because they're owned by the big guy. I can't. Like, I have not had experience with their beer that's been negative. So hats off to them. Good job.
Did you clue them in on who won?
Yeah.
I did.
Jesus. So
I'm just gonna.
We gotta shut her down. Sean, do you have like a 1 second thing because it's gonna close on me again?
No, I'm just gonna go through these quick stats.
Go quick, and Sean, make it quick.
I will tell you. It'll be like Micro Machines. There were 52 first-time entering breweries who won awards. The 4 breweries who tied for the most medals with 3 medals apiece, were 10 Barrel Brewing,
Nice.
and Barley Brown's Brew Pub, Devil's Backbone, and Left Hand Brewing Company.
Yeah, I love Left Hand. Left Hand's cool.
The top 3 states by ratio, which has been thrown off by every other year because of the restriction of how many that you can enter, has been New Jersey with 19% with 16 entries and 3 medals, Alaska of 13% with 16 entries and 2 medals, tied with Washington, D.C. for 13% and 8 medals, and New Mexico 10% with 84 entries and 8 medals. Since 2002, the category with the most most entries has been the American Style India Pale Ale IPA, which saw 279 entries in 2014. The top 5 entered categories other than that were number 2, Herb and Spices, 150. Number 3, American Style Pale Ale, 145. Number 4, American Style Red Ale, 140. And number 5, Imperial India Pale Ale with 135 categories.
Good grade.
So if you look at that, the hoppy ones, India IPA, Pale Ale, and Amber Red, which sometimes are hoppy, and double IPAs is kind of what everyone was entering this year.
It's crazy. And then I'll put a link up because Norm sent us a link with those ratios. We were talking about the percentages versus entries, and it was pretty nuts. But yeah, it's one of these years we're all going to go. Sean, you went last year, right?
Never been.
Oh, really? Where'd you go last? Didn't you go to a big? Oh, you went to the Craft Brewers Conference.
Yeah, I went to the Craft Brewers Conference.
All right,
and I apologize. Those stats were coming from the Brewers Association.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just reading exactly from some of the data that they submitted out this week.
So blame them if the entries are wrong.
Exactly.
I kid. So that's going to wrap it up for the results. I'll put the link again. It's pretty easy to remember. It's greatamericanbeerfestival.com. And I'll put the links in the show notes once I get that up. And real quick, Carla, coming up in the next week, what do we got?
Actually, this weekend there's an event up at Rising Tide. They're having a whole statewide event in Maine called Maine Craft Weekend, and of course the brewers are like, well, we're craft, right? Hey. So there's a pretty cool event happening there. They're going to have beer. They're going to have also a bunch of crafters doing some fun stuff, selling their wares there. Check out Rising Tide Brewing Company's website and their Facebook for more details. But it's over the weekend. It's just kind of an open house kind of thing. And also, there's a couple of Oktoberfests still kicking around Maine. You know, the late bloomers. They're having one at Jimmy the Greeks in Old Orchard Beach.
Jimmy the Greeks.
Jimmy the Greeks. But other than that, just a lot of cool stuff. There's actually a bar that's opening in my neighborhood, about a block above me, that's reviving an old bar that used to be there, closed for a whole bunch of years, and there's supposed to be kind of a beer bar with like a brick ambiance and stuff. That's opening tomorrow, so
Sweet.
I'm going to check that out. And then the only other news is just a reminder that if you're listening at 8 a.m. on Thursdays to WCYY, I'll be on the radio. So
Yes. WCYY 94.9.
Yep.
Coming in
Check
hot. Bring the sound effects too, like the and the.
Carla's now the sound effects
I'm
girl.
just trying not to laugh too obnoxiously on there because I don't want to hear that. Like,
Yeah, I'm with
my-
you.
Just remember,
okay,
like,
thank you, SVL Podcast, for getting me used to my own voice. I have
Let's see, and I knew
my
it.
own voice. I'm not freaked out by it. I
We
like.
trained it. We
but
trained it.
have Mike burp a couple times and record it so that you can, or like open up the cap on a can and just grab some noises.
But yeah, I say good luck, but you've already started. But yeah, have fun with that, Carla. That's pretty
Thanks.
badass. God, on the radio.
On the radio.
Everyone's growing up so fast. Sean, what are you doing? What's going on this weekend?
This weekend I'm actually taking it a little bit slow, but there was some other
That
beer
beer
stuff
fest?
going on. If you're way up north, Attitash is doing a big beer fest,
All right.
which would be pretty hot. Coming up on
Wait,
October.
hot? Like, never mind. Hot festival.
Coming in hot.
Coming in hot.
October 25th is the New Hampshire Brew Fest at Red Hook,
Yes.
which should be a pretty good time. And you were mentioning Rising Tide, but they're having a big anniversary party on Sunday, the 26th. So mark your calendar and don't forget it.
Oh, we'll
And
go up
make
there.
sure you're there.
I'm pretty sure I can drag my wife up there. She likes the place.
Do. Get tickets. Go. I'm going. It's gonna be great.
Man, and let me tell you, best beer fest of the year in New England. Forget about ACBF. The Brewfest, NH Brewfest. It is awesome.
It's a good one.
So it's got my medal for Beer Fest of the Year for 6 years running.
It's actually in support for the Master Brewers Association.
I'm always
So
down for that.
it's really a beer fest where all of the brewers and the breweries are engaged in participating, because the proceeds of the event go right back to supporting the brewing industry and education in New England. So they're committed to that festival. So that's why it's a fun one to go to.
Sweet. So check it. And we're going to talk about it again because I want to do another quick show, Sean and Carl, if you wanted to. Just we're going down the list of the stuff because they loved it when we did that last time, and they'd be big fans of a separate show for that. For the locals that are going, that is. This week, I'm home brewing. I'm going up to a log cabin in Vermont where there's no cell phone service and brewing for 3 days. More on that if I get out of there alive. So
Seriously?
Yeah. I'll take pictures and we'll see what happens. But no, Norm, I have nothing. He didn't send me any things for him to say, but he was at Rising Tide last week. If that helps you get through your day to day. But follow him on Metro West Daily News. He's got an article coming out tomorrow, I believe, or whenever you're listening to this, it's already out on the Great American Beer Fest in New England and all the wrap-ups there. So that's all I have. I got to get down because American Horror Story starts in about a half an hour, if you guys know what I'm saying. But no, Sean, Carla, as always, we got to get together again. We have a couple guests coming up. We're not going to mention them because we got to make sure we got them locked in. But find us next week and every week as we make our slow crawl to episode 100. So, Carla and Sean, cheers.
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 And we'll see you next week. Bye.